Luka Doncic. That's what we're seeing right now. And that's why this NBA season feels so special.
I'm going to say something, though, Shay. I do think that, you're never going to see the Thunder really talk trash. That is their franchise MO. They always take the high road. Well, most of the time they take the high road. When Shai Gilgeous-Alexander said 2 nights ago, I let my game do the talking. Yeah. That was him talking trash at Victor Wembanyama. Like, let's be clear. And I got a whole bunch of other people who I talk to on a daily basis who say it much more pointedly when they're on the phone or on text. So what you're making a case, Stephen A., but I'm telling you, in the NBA, that people don't all feel that way.
Yeah, of course they don't. But that's part of it because everybody's personalities are different. LeBron wasn't Kobe. Kobe was one of one. MJ was one of one. Bird was different than Magic, etc. It comes in all shapes and sizes. What was they doing when they were talking about, the dream team and all of that? Larry Bird sitting up there looking for a backdoor entrance, trying to avoid the crowd and everything. They said, "Where's Magic?" What? And they went right to Bird. Bird said, Magic going through the front door. That's what he's going through. He want to walk through the crowd. He's Showtime. That wasn't Bird. That's what made it special, the dichotomy that exists. You understand the different personalities going up against one another. You got us looking forward to OKC versus San Antonio. We're watching San Antonio, NBA best 26-2 since February 1st, right? And a 15 game winning streak with Wembanyama on the floor, winning 15 of their last 16 or whatever it was. And with all of that being said, going off the way that they are actually winning 26 of their last 28. With all of that being said, they're still 2 games behind OKC. And Shai is chilling out, showing up to every press conference, entering every arena, flossing, outfit, looking spectacular, putting everybody on notice. He ain't just trying to win another MVP and another championship. He want to get invited to Fashion Week in Paris, too, and New York City. He's flossing like that, okay? In the meantime, winning. Sitting up there and saying, no matter what you do, Wemby, you still chasing me. That's what Shai is really, really saying because he has been a model of consistency throughout Wemby's run. Shai hasn't faded one bit. It's really special to watch right now.
Yeah, I felt like when he said, I'm good, multiple times, like I'll let my game do the talking, I agreed with Wendy. It was the first thing I thought about. Also, are we still using flossing? I don't know if we're still using that word, but we can talk about that.
We can. I can. I do.
Oh, okay. All right, got it. Wendy, we'll talk to you a little bit later on. In the meantime, we go to some breaking news out of the NFL. Kirk Cousins is signing with the Raiders. They hold the #1 overall pick in the NFL draft, which is presumed to be Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza. And with that news, we say good morning to one Adam Schefter, who has been busy this morning. Good morning, Shefty.
Good morning, great one. How are we doing? Hello, Stephen A.
How does the signing of Cousins impact how the Raiders are going to handle Mendoza?
Well, you got a situation here where Clint Kubiak, the new Raiders head coach, has said that in his perfect world, he brings in a veteran to hold down the fort and play the position early on while they get Fernando Mendoza up to speed. And so now that he's brought in Kirk Cousins, whom he worked with for 3 years in Minnesota together, Kirk Cousins knows what to expect from Clint Kubiak. Clint Kubiak knows what to expect from Kirk Cousins. These two have worked together before. They'll do it together again now in Las Vegas. And so this is really an ideal bridge quarterback situation where they can bring in Cousins. It forces them to take the pressure off Mendoza. They don't have to rush him out there if they don't feel like he's ready. Kirk Cousins is a great quarterback for Mendoza to be around, to learn from. He becomes an ideal tutor. And if we think of Kirk Cousins in Atlanta, he did not choose to work with Michael Penix. The team chose Michael Penix. In this particular case, Kirk Cousins willingly, voluntarily signed on to work with Fernando Mendoza.
Mm-hmm. That's the key there. Stephen A., go ahead.
That's definitely a key point. That's definitely a key point that Adam brings up because he didn't pick the situation in the scenario in Atlanta. That was thrusted upon him after he had signed. You never know how a player feels. Like Kirk Cousins is class personified. There are times that we've been critical of him in terms of his performance. Periodically, he has had good performances. He's had bad performances. We all know that. But the one thing you've never questioned about him is his character. He's always been considered a really, really good guy. And so when the situation presented itself in Atlanta, whereas you may have heard some people complaining about it or whatever, you never heard that from Kirk Cousins. That's not who he is. And so when you're in Vegas and you're trying to rebuild, retool, get yourself together, and you're bringing in a #1 overall pick who's clearly the future of your franchise, in Fernando Mendoza, surrounding him with somebody like a Kirk Cousins to play the role of mentor, to start for a few games before Fernando Mendoza is ready to go and stuff like that, that's going to go a long way. But you hear a lot about Fernando Mendoza's character as well. And it's the kind of things that you've heard about him in terms of his religion, his religious beliefs, his approach to life, as well as the game itself, the people he surrounds himself with. You hear similarities between that and Kirk Cousins. So I wasn't surprised when I saw the news that Kirk Cousins had elected to go to Las Vegas, because I have no doubt he's heard about Fernando Mendoza himself, and he wants to lend a helping hand to a guy like that. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
And I think that you could draw some parallels between the type of people that they are, both very likable, both very quirky, in a nice, fun way. But I think that there are scouts out there in the NFL community who say that Fernando Mendoza is a bigger version of Kirk Cousins, that they play in a similar fashion. So you now have these two quarterbacks with similar skill traits, similar skill sets. And again, Mendoza's bigger, not as experienced. He'll get to learn an awful lot from being around Kirk Cousins. And Clint Kubiak gets exactly what he wants, a quarterback to hold down the fort until Fernando Mendoza is ready.
So let's clarify that a little bit really quick here, Shefty. Do you anticipate there will be some sort of quarterback competition, or do you think that Kirk Cousins will go in as the starter right away?
I think Cousins will start right away. They're not going to say it's a competition. I think they're going to want to bring along Mendoza at whatever pace it is. And by the way, if he's ready to start in week 1, then they could always go to him. But now there's zero pressure. They don't have to rush him. They don't have to stick him out there before he's ready. They've got a seasoned veteran to go up against the AFC West division that includes quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Bo Nix. This is one of the toughest divisions in football. Are you ready to throw a rookie quarterback right into that? Maybe not. And so they don't have to do that anymore by signing Kirk Cousins to this particular contract. They can take their time with Mendoza and not have to rush him along.
Well, here's the difference. I mean, Adam Schefter didn't say a word. He didn't say a syllable that was wrong. But here's the difference between Adam Schefter and me. He's far, far nicer than me, okay? The Las Vegas Raiders have no expectations. You talk about a team in the National Football League that's playing with house money. It is the Las Vegas Raiders. They were not a very good team. Actually, they were pretty damn horrible in a lot of people's eyes, okay? And you're talking about them being in the AFC West with the Denver Broncos, who was the #1 seed, and by the way, I thought would have been in the Super Bowl had Bo Nix not gone down. Okay, then you've got the Chargers, who've improved their roster, and we know what Jim Harbaugh is as a coach. We know what Justin Herbert is as a quarterback. We know some of the pieces that they have, and they're a formidable team. And then, of course, you've got Patrick Mahomes, highly motivated, along with Travis Kelce, highly motivated. Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy returning as an offensive coordinator, a Kansas City Chiefs team that not only missed the playoffs, but didn't even have a winning record. That is not going to stand for this organization led by the great Patrick Mahomes. They are going to come back highly, highly motivated. Who's the distant fourth in all of that? It's the Las Vegas Raiders. So you're playing with house money right now, which is another reason why it was very, very wise of them to bring in somebody like a Kirk Cousins who knows the situation, who's an adult in the room,